Now we have started recording and we're going to start today's webinar. Cheryl, thanks again for presenting information for us and take it away.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you. Okay, so today is going to be keyboard maps. I hope all of you guys are staying healthy and keeping yourselves busy. I just want to go over something that Tammy brought up that people were asking about the number conversion from last time. And if you were if you did the last webinar, if you want to use my number conversion that I left on the share file, you have to, when you download it to your desktop, rename it to number conversion 1, then restore it into Case Catalyst, not import it, but restore it. Then look at that file, see if that's the one that you want to use. And if it is, delete the number conversion file that's in system. You would delete the number conversion I'm going to show you right now. You delete the one that's in here, this one. Rename the number conversion that you had, number conversion 1 that is mine, to number conversion, and then Case Catalyst will use that. If you just import it without renaming it on your desktop to number conversion 1 or some other name, it's going to overwrite the number conversion system file that's in here. So please don't do that. Okay, so now on to keyboard maps, which is one of my other favorite features in Case Catalyst. Almost as much as I like number conversion, maybe even more, I like using keyboard maps. Now, keyboard maps are something that some of you are probably used to doing in some version, but you probably aren't aware of all the functions that can be done in a keyboard map. So in your system files, once again, if you go to system files, you will see that Case Catalyst has one that's called, I believe, Cat 4 or something else. I don't have it in here anymore because I've deleted mine, but I have my own keyboard map, which is, if I go down further here, Cheryl's keyboard, and a default keyboard map. So when I'm in a transcript, I switch between 2 keyboard maps. All of my editing is done. If you see right here, Cheryl's keyboard, all of my editing is done through Cheryl's keyboard. By using this, what I've done is I have made all the keys on my keyboard into shortcut keys. Whoa, what happened there? Sorry, I didn't do that, but made them all into shortcut keys. So instead of using the arrows,
Cheryl,
yeah.
I think Marcia stole the screen and she's presenting her go-to-meeting right now. Hold on, take the screen back.
Okay. So what do I need to do here?
At the bottom screen.
Oh, okay.
I probably should lock that from people being able to click on that button.
Okay, so are we good now?
Yeah, we're good. Back to your screen.
Oh, okay, thanks. Okay, so the fun of keyboard maps is that you can create the keys to do anything you want. But if you do that, you also have to switch back and forth to a default keyboard map in order to type stuff in. So I edit by just using my keys move like this by just using the K key. So my hands are never off the home row keyboard of Case Catalyst. In one of the downloads that you have off of ShareFile, there is a keyboard map. This is what I used as my backdrop for changing keys into things that I wanted them to be. So I made this keyboard map, and then I changed the keys on here to perform the functions that I wanted to do to save using my hands from doing a million strokes. I think I told some of you at the seminar before that when I broke my arm, I wasn't able to use it for approximately 10 weeks. And if I didn't use keyboard commands, my keyboard map, I would have never been able to edit a transcript that someone needed in a hurry. It was 160 pages of a transcript I had done real time, but I was able to edit it with one hand in 4 hours. The reason I could do that is because I use a keyboard map. So a lot of the different functions that you can do, like I hit one key to highlight. I hit that same key, something else just popped up here. I hit that same key, the S key, 3 times and things are highlighted. If I want to replace something, I don't hit 2 keys. Oh, as you can tell, I'm not used to editing as much as I used to. So I could define that word with just one key. Now, the way you go about doing that is you go into your keyboard map. Within the keyboard map, you can change any function, any key to a function that you want it to perform. So if I move down along here, you will see that like the D key for me is delete word. I don't hit the delete button. I hit just the D. All of these we're saying easy text entry 1, easy text entry 2. Those are all easy keys to perform multiple functions. So if I if I just hit the 1 key, it'll come up the defendant. If I hit the number 2 key, it comes up the witness. If I hit number 3, the court. Number 4 is a prospective juror. Those are all preset into my keyboard map. Now, the way that you would go about doing this is the first thing you do to make a second keyboard map is you would go to Files and delete any excess keyboard maps besides the one you're going to create and the default one. The default one is basically your word processing keyboard map. So if I'm in this transcript and I want to type something, my command to switch to my regular keyboard is Control J. Do you see on the bottom here where now it says keyboard map default? This is that I could type it. Now, if I want to switch back to it being the function ones, where all of the keys are functioning keys, which is the Cheryl's keyboard, I'm going to hit that same keyboard stroke, which is I use Control J to switch between the 2 keyboards. Now it's Cheryl's keyboard, and now I'm back to just my editing keyboard. So back to your system files. In order to make a keyboard map that you want to put your editing functions into, you would go to, you could do it when you're in the transcript actually. You can go to Tools, Options, Edit, Tools, Options, not letting me edit, Tools, Options, Edit and Advanced Edit, and why I'm not finding it, I'm going to exit out and do it from, I'll do it from here. Tools, Options, Edit, Advanced Edit, click on Advanced Edit, and in here, you are going to set, well first, I'm sorry, I kind of screwed up here. We first need to create the keyboard that you're going to use. And in order to create that keyboard, you want to go to File, New, List or Table, Keyboard Map. When you click on that keyboard map, you're going to create one here, name it what you want it to be, and now you could go in, I'm not going to rename one, but let's say I named it Cheryl's keyboard, and open it. It says it already exists, which if you were creating one, this wouldn't happen. Go to open it, and now it's giving me all the options that I have. Once I've created that keyboard, I'm going to go in and delete the extra ones that Case Catalyst has in here, Otherwise, when you try switching between the two keyboards, it doesn't know which one to go to. You should really only have a default one, which is the keyboard map that you use like as your word processing portion. You could type anything you want. Instead of typing it in a box, you type it directly into the transcript, and then your own keyboard map that you have made the changes on. Now, once, I'll go back to the part where I said you need to go in and set that keyboard map as the one you want to use. So now you would go into Tools, Options, Edit, and Advanced Edit, which is what I started showing you before. And in here, you need to set which keyboard map you want to be the default keyboard map. So right here, Keyboard Map Options, I want the default one to be my editing keyboard, which is Cheryl's keyboard. So when I open or assign macros, it automatically goes to my Cheryl's keyboard map. Also, in this advanced editing box, you can see there's a couple of other things in here. Default internet search engine. This is where when you set up a key on your default keyboard map, it will know what you want to use as your search tool. So I have mine set as Google. Now I'll show you, I'm sure a lot of you use this, but I'll show you what that means. So if I was looking, I wanted to know this attorney's name, but Google's not going to look, but know what it is. But I've set up Shift and F7 on my keyboard map to automatically take me to Google. So as soon as I hit that, it pops up. It's just one of the many things that you can change in your keyboard maps. If I wanted to look up the word perspective, but I wanted to look up what it meant, my keyboard map command for that is F7. Right there comes up Merriam Dictionary. So you can do a number of things, set the keys a number of different ways to be the things that you want it to be. So if once you have started changing the keyboard map to be the things that you want it to be, start marking them on that keyboard map that I showed you, the one that I have on the share file. Start marking in different colors the commands that you have set up to be used strictly for the keys themselves, for shift with the key, control shift with the key. So if you go into my keyboard map, you'll see that like the letter K. This is all of the different functions that I have changed it to. Like the letter W deletes backwards. E plus the control key, E defines. My numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all easy text entries, which I showed you, where the court popped up, the witness popped up. All of those different items are all set in my keyboard map. If you want to set a key to be something and you're not sure how to do it, once again, Case Catalyst will pretty much walk you through it. So say, for instance, you want to change your O key to Query Real-Time Translation. And I'll show you what that is in a minute. But you double click on the item. Case Catalyst gives you an option of all of the different things you could set keys to. If you want to set one key to interrupted QA colloquy, it knows how to do that. It knows all of these are all preset options that you could put in here. So in my real-time map, I use the O for Query Real-Time Translation. So say, for instance, this word was not, it translated as basis, and I didn't know why it should have been that. My stroke for that should not have been that way. So I hit O, which is Query Real-Time Translation, and it tells me my personal dictionary is showing me that that word should translate into basis. If I thought, oh, gee, that's not what it should be, all I have to do is modify and change it to the word I want to be right there from the Query Real-Time Translation box. There's a number of other things that you can highlight, that you can do with, I don't know if any of you are familiar with using one of the preset functions in Case Catalyst, and that's if you have a court call that's 160 pages, say for instance, you've translated it. First of all, you should always copy and work with the copy. You shouldn't be working with your original note files. If you're using the original note files, it's kind of like you're taking your box of old paper notes and messing with them. You should always make a copy and work off the copy. So say for instance, this job, when I translated it, I only need just a small portion of it. What I would do would be I would translate it, find the spot that I needed to start from, and then I would hit Control, Shift, and Home. It's all the way to the beginning of the transcript. If this is all this is 20 other cases I don't need, all I would hit delete. They're all automatically gone. The same thing with going to the end of the transcript. If I wanted to only translate a small portion of it, again, the end of it I didn't need, Shift, Control, End will take me all the way to the end of the transcript. I hit delete, and that part of the transcript is all gone, just leaving me the portion of the note files that I actually need. The wonderful thing about doing it that way is that your audio stays perfectly intact. So if you had a 160-page court call and you only need 5 pages, the Jones case is smack dab in the middle, you deleted the top, you deleted the bottom, you rename it to be Jones, your audio is absolutely perfect in it. The other thing that it also does by doing that is if you have a static date on your transcript, that Case Catalyst knows that the date on the transcript should be the date that you wrote that file. And so I have people here that when I check their transcript invoices or check their transcripts on an appeal, it'll have the wrong date on it. That will never happen if you are copying the original note files and deleting the top and bottom portion to just get the case that you need, because Case Catalyst knows that it was written on that date. If you're going in and copying and pasting into another transcript, copying the testimony from that day for just that one case, and pasting it into another transcript, many times the dates on people's transcripts are wrong. But if you do it this way, it won't be wrong, because the date is the date generated by your steno notes through Case Catalyst. Once you get going on changing the commands to be things that you want it to be, you can go into Case Catalyst and go to the Help menu, and right here there is Personal Command Summary Cards. It knows what you have changed the different keys to. So if I clicked on the basic version, it's going to ask me which keyboard map. I'm going to hit mine, open, and Case Catalyst is going to generate what I have changed these keys to. So in addition to using that kind of fake keyboard that I included with today's seminar lesson, you can print out what you have changed your keys to, so you know what they are to use. Like I said, I use V for undo. When I exit a transcript, I never use the exit arrow like this. I have made a macro that is to exit the transcript. So I just use that command, the one key, and it exits me out. I just use an X. One of the hints about trying to remember the things that you've changed your keyboard to is do it with a letter that associates something for you in your own mind. As you can see here, play audio. I don't hit F4 and then 9. I just use the 9, and I hit the 0 to stop playing the audio. You might not think that using 2 keys, it's a big deal. Well, Cheryl, that's not a big deal. So I hit 2 keys. Just remember, every single time you do that, you're slowing yourself down. You're using your hands more than you need to. When you become as old as I am, you realize that all the stress you put on your wrist, the less stress you have, the better off you are. I'll also show you what my advanced keyboard map looks like this is the advanced version. And it shows you all of the things that I have added onto my keyboard map. Some of the things I forget, and to be honest with you, I haven't been editing many transcripts in the last year and a half because I'm no longer a working reporter. So my skills have gone down, but once you start doing them, they definitely come right back. Some of the other things that you can, let me get out of this here.
I have questions whenever you take a pause.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
One of the first questions from earlier, and it may have, someone asked if it's like keyboard commands in Xscribe, if you know that.
Yes, it definitely is, without a doubt. I had keyboards commands that I used in Xscribe, but once you turned Windows, I think Windows 7 made you unable to use keyboard commands through Xscribe. So basically, I converted a lot of those into using on my own keyboard map. The only difference is in Xscribe, you didn't have to switch between your default keyboard map and the regular keyboard map. So that's the difference of how Case Catalyst works from how Xscribe worked. Does that answer the question?
Yep, it does. When copying your original file to work with and not use the original as you've suggested, how do you get the audio to copy along with it? Or audio?
Yes, because I'll exit out of here. If you're taking a file, if I'm taking this file, say for instance, this court call is being ordered, I copy it. All you have to do is hit that and it'll automate it. Oh, sorry. As I said, I've not been editing very much. So it'll copy it to my desktop, to my main menu. So I'm going back and now it's right here. So say for I'm going to rename it to the same date, but I don't want it to say call for Judge McAllis. I just want it to be the Jones case before I start translating it. Now I'm going to go in, I'll translate it. Please do not look at how bad this is. It was a regular call. I have no idea how bad my notes are. So say for instance, I'm going to look to find okay, so this is all I need is 16 CF 2359. Put my cursor here. I'm going to hit Shift, Control, Home, hit Delete. All of that's gone. I'm going to go to the end of the case. Please, once again, do not look at. I'll look for my asterisks to find it, the end of the case. I'm going to hit Shift, Control, End. It's highlighting everything to the end of the call. Hit Delete. Now this is the only case that I wanted. Hit my audio. Oh, see, I accidentally instead of incidentally. So the audio is perfect. There's no problem with the audio at all. And all I have is 3 pages left. All the rest of it is gone. So now it's been named the name of the case. Now, if I insert the title page, oh, it's not a jury. Man, I can't even remember my commands anymore. Okay, so I'm inserting my title page. Do you see here how it's in a different color? it automatically knew that these were notes from the 23rd of February, which you can see up here, February 3rd, 23rd, 2018. I didn't have to put this date in. Case Catalyst knew that that was the date that the transcript was written on. So that you have no way of making a mistake on your title page with the date of the transcript because Case Catalyst automatically inserts it in. Now, I know the other part of today's lesson was macros. Macros are a huge thing if you don't use them. There's some that are preset in Case Catalyst that you necessarily wouldn't have to, but I'll show you a few of the things that macros can do without you having to really try to. Is there a question?
Questions, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
What are you writing on your writer to separate your cases?
I use asterisks to separate cases. I know people do a bunch of different things, but that's how I always did it, was I separated cases by asterisks.
And what about when a case is called and passed 5 times?
I always wrote it on my call sheet that it was passed, and then I would number my call sheet with the number that it was passed to. So I started with the first case, and if it got passed, I would circle it, then then it got called the 10th case, so I would put 10 on there. If it got passed again, I'd circle it, and then everyone has their own method of keeping track of how they do their cases, but that was the way I did mine.
So if her asterisk key deletes, how do you get around that for the case?
My asterisk key deletes 2, but I've only used delete for 1. It'll only delete 1 word back. So if I hit to separate cases, I always hit 3 or 4 deletes between them. 3 or 4 times the asterisk key to delete it versus just once, because my hitting it once was 1 stroke back delete. In order to delete back more than 1 stroke, mine was an asterisk with the number bar, and that would continue deleting strokes back versus just the asterisks. So now to do a macro, say for instance, I want the court here to be turned into a question. It's in the middle of a jury trial, and let's just say that the court started examining and I still hit the symbol for the court instead of it being the question. To do that, you would go to macro, record. Now the trick to doing a macro is you have to have the exact key functions for what you want it to do. It can't be shortcuts for it. So for this, I'm going to hit Shift, backspace, 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 backspace. The next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to delete the court. I hit the delete key. Now I wanted to put in the question. So I'm going to hit F4 and the Q, because that's Case Catalyst command for question. I'm going to stop it up here, stop the recording. It's going to ask me what I want to save it as. I want it to save as delete, you name it whatever you want it to be. So delete court. Oh, there, it's probably coming up. Delete question, whoops. And insert the court. So I already have this as an include. I would hit save. I'm not going to overwrite the one I have, but hit save. And well, I'll do it to show you guys. And then it's going to ask you what key you want to name it to. So I hit save. This already exists. Do you want to replace it? I really don't want to replace it, but I'll go ahead and do it so that you guys can see it. It's asking me where I want this to be, what key I want to assign it to. And I wanted to assign it to key number 2. So I would hit the key number 2 here and then assign it. I'm not going to finish doing that because I don't want to overwrite what I have. but I will show you what that command now will do. So I'm going to find another, this transcript has a bunch of garbage now in it. I'm going to go here. I want to change this to just be the question. Whoops. Well, once again, as I told you guys, I haven't been editing very much, so I can't remember what commands they are anymore. Yep, it's still not working. It should change this to the question, which it's probably not doing because I can't remember how to do the command. So let me see, is it Shift 3? There you go. It deletes the words, it deleted all those things that I wanted to delete, and it's set up to one key. So let me try it one more time here. Let's see if I want to change Ms. Mareshi to that. It changed it to the witness. Okay, there you go. It changed it to the witness to the question. So I think that was kind of confusing how I just did it because I couldn't remember the commands exactly. So if you want me to show you again, I'll try and find the court and see if I could get it to work right. It should be deleting the court, and I'm probably not hitting the right command for it. But those are the things that you can do in macros to set them up to be the words that you want them to be. Let me try if I have any questions that I could switch to the court. Macros will change multiple combinations of strokes into what you want them to be. And I'm probably not showing you good examples right now, but that is what they will do. Let me see, on the sheets, I have other things that you can change. One of the great things about Case Catalyst is how many times have you been in the middle of editing something and you walk away, but you don't want to forget where you were. Well, I've created a key, Control 8, or any unused key to bookmark that place. So I'm going to bookmark it. I just hit Control 8. I went to the bottom of the transcript. Now I want to go back to that part. Control 9 will take me right back to that same spot in Case Catalyst. So if you're in the middle of editing something, instead of trying to remember where you were, you're going to hit Control 8 or whatever key you want to bookmark. You could go search for something else. Control 9 will take you right back to that same spot. Now, once again, to set that up, what you would do would be double click on your keyboard map, go to, if you wanted to use Control 8 as that key, you'd go to the spot that you want to change it to. This one is insert new page. Where's Control 8? If I clicked on this, but then I hit Control key and the right here, Control key and the number 8, then I want here to the function I wanted it to perform. What I want it to perform is I want that key to be bookmark. So I look, bookmark current cursor location, hit assign the key, close it, close out. Now I want the 9 to be, Control 9 to find it, to go back to find that spot. So I'm going to go to the 9 key, Control and 9, and look for the command for finding the spot that I have bookmarked. And I can't remember what the command is. Let's see, bookmark. there's a command in here for locating the, going back to the same spot. It's go to bookmark position. So you'd look for the G's, go to bookmarked cursor, assign it, close it, and exit out. Now I probably should go over creating a macro again, because I don't think that I necessarily gave you a good example of how to do that, but I'm going to show you a few other things that keyboard commands can do. If I want to change this word scratches, scratch to scratch is, I use Control O to bring up quick fix suffixes. So all I would have to do would be then hit the S key. It automatically knew to change this to ES and make the word plural. If I want to take that off, I hit Shift Control O. Oh, this is the prefix, sorry. Shift Control O is my prefix, quick fix prefix. Say for instance, I wanted it, it's not a word, but semi scratches. It creates the word just by hitting the S key to make that semi scratches. Some of the other things that it'll do is, some of the other things that you could do, like I said, you can hit the Control, add the S on. You could add, all of these are quick fix suffixes that you can add to word just by hitting this first key. So if I just hit G, it automatically knows, fingernailing, not that it's a word, but it knows how to do that. If I hit Shift Control, like you just saw, that for me takes the ending off of a word. So if I don't want it to be scratches, first I'll put the scratches on there, or scratchably I just added, and now that ending is not the ending I want. Shift Control O, sorry. It's still, as you can tell, my editing skills aren't what they used to be. Takes it off of there. So are there any more questions about that? Should I go over doing macros again? Because I feel like I really kind of screwed that up. But if anybody wants me to go over how to create a macro again, I can. In the keyboard maps, if I want to, say for instance, I want to use F1 and Shift to be something, there are macros that Case Catalyst has set up that are down here. Save and close, add the suffix ed, all of these things you can apply to keys that you want to use to create those shortcuts. There's more that are macros down here. There's a lot of real-time commands that are in there that you can set the keys to. These are all ones that are set into Case Catalyst that you could set them to. So it's all about trying to make your editing time shorter, and the best way to do that is by setting keyboard maps. Remember, you switch into the typing one with a command that you put in there. You have to put it in both the default keyboard map, the same as the keyboard map that you created. So if I want to switch to my default map, I hit Control J. See where the keyboard map changed to Cheryl. To change it to the default one, Control J again. I can now type anything I want. Now I want to switch back to my editing keyboard, Control J. Now editing functions. That's all just staying on the home row. This is my up key, is the U to go up. I'm not, my hands are not, I wish you could see, but my hands are not off of the keyboard. Global, I don't have to hit two keys. I just hit the G key, and that would be a global if I wanted to make it one. If I want to replace something, it's one key, it's just the H. So I'm not hitting two strokes to do any of those things. I'm just hitting one, and the box is popping up. I don't type with the insert box like a lot of reporters do. They type in the insert box. If you're using keyboard maps, you don't have to do that. You just switch to your default, and now you can type. Okay, is there any more questions on that? Otherwise, I will go over like some font headings if you want to change things in your fonts. We started doing some of that the other day. If people want me to go over that, I can. Another thing that Case Catalyst has is a function called Cat Scratch. It's over here docked on the side of my computer. If I just go hovering over it, it pops it out. So say, for instance, there was a DNA. I just want to include that into my Cat Scratch. Say it was a special, it was a spelling that I didn't know anything about. You can add that to your Cat Scratch by just highlighting it. Let me see, I haven't done this for a while either. You could set a keyboard command for this to automatically go to your Cat Scratch. And I, right this second, cannot think of what that command is because I haven't used it for a while. But you would just highlight it, hit that key, and it would automatically go to Cat Scratch. So you have that spelling there in case instead of having to use a piece of paper. Another thing that Case Catalyst has done is there's a thing called push pins that you can also mark a spot by using a push pin. It will pop out onto the page. Once again, it's another key that you would set in here to be a push pin. That will allow you to go back to that page or that section of the transcript and find something instead of having to just type in, go back and check here. Oops, just exited out of Case Catalyst, sorry. So are there any questions at this point of any of the stuff that I've done? Do you guys want me to go over macros again? I can, because
there was a question earlier. And it was about, I think, when you were saving audio. Does it keep the audio when you do a file excerpt and delete the files that are not needed?
Yes, the audio stays exactly where it is. The audio is in the exact spot that it would be because you're just deleting the top, deleting the bottom, and that center portion is still exactly there. It really makes it a lot easier to do a small transcript like a lot of us have because we have calls that are 40 or 50 items in a call. But you have to remember, you always need to make a copy of your existing note file. I'll kind of go over that again if you want. The way that I stored my notes is 2018 note files. As you can see, I don't have anything for 2019, but I'll go back to like 2016 note files. This is my briefcase. Within the briefcase, there's a briefcase of every month. So you would click on, if it was in April, these were the court calls that I took in April. If something is being ordered from April 28th, I'm going to copy it. I don't want to use that original file. So I'm going to go here, copy it, just hit OK, and it's going to automatically go to my main menu right here. Before I start deleting anything out of it, because there's obviously more than one thing in here, I'm going to name it to be Smith. So I'll rename it because the name of the transcript I want is Smith. Now I'm going to translate it. So I'm going to translate it. Now, if I only want a portion, I'm going to search for the asterisk again. Well, there wasn't much up on that day, so it pretty much goes to that. But say this is the beginning of the transcript that I wanted right here. So I'm going to Shift Control Home Delete. Now I'm going to find what I think would be the bottom. It's only going to be here. I'm going to delete it here. Shift Control End, delete. And now this is the transcript that I need. Here's my audio. It's only 2 pages, the transcript, but the audio is perfectly fine. Now if I go here to include my title page, it will automatically have the date on it. The 28th day of April, if you look here, April 28th, the Smith case, it automatically pulled that in. So you would never have a wrong date on your title page if you do it that way. Any other questions about that?
Looking for the real-time macro for changing an error you see you've made. I've seen people do it.
Is somebody looking for how to do that?
Yeah,
That's an accelerator, and
next
that's
session.
going to be the next session. So
That will be on
is there
Tuesday, right? What
Tuesday,
day?
right?
I don't even know what day it is.
Tuesday.
It will be on Tuesday.
Tuesday is April 8th.
Okay.
No, what is it? No, April 7th.
Yeah, I need to change the link in the event to reschedule that for Tuesday. Mickey is saying, how do you get your title page to do that automatically?
You need to have that command in your title page. Okay, so I'm going to go to my includes. I'll go to my criminal title page, which is this. In your title page, here, do you see how it automatically popped in here? Because that was the date I created it on. This is a fill-in field, and the fill-in field, that's a whole other session, but you would do a fill-in field for here. And the way to do that is you have to create the field that you want in here, and then you have to do it as the date. So let me see if I can insert field. Then you would go down here to, I think it's date. I haven't done this for a while. See, it should help me find it here. Create date ordinal is the fill-in field that you want to make here. So I'll show you. I would hit on create date ordinal inside insert field and insert it. And once again, it's double popping in here because I have two in there. But the reason it's saying the 7th day of March of 2006 is because that is the day that I made this include. Well, because it's in orange and it has that command in it of that field creation of the creation date, it changes it on your title page to automatically do that. Did I explain that okay, Tammy?
Yeah,
did you get that?
She hasn't commented, but I'm sure. Yes, that explains it.
Okay, so all of the things on here that you see in orange, which this is totally off topic, but all the things that you see here in orange are fill-in fields. So these are things that are preset, and then I just fill in the fields by hitting my command to go to the next field is F5. So it knows, and I just pick hearing, I would hit H, fill it in. The same thing with the judge. All of our judges are in here, so I would just start typing and then add it and continue on. So those are all fill-in fields. Another great tool that Case Catalyst has, you can put all your state's attorneys in here same way. If I hit the next fill-in field, which I hit F5 on my keyboard command, those are our current and our past state's attorney. If I hit it here, it'll fill in the public defender's names, which I've added them all in. So you just hit one key and they pop in. And now I have changed my criminal title sheet to add things into it, which I don't want. So I'm going to have to delete them out. Sorry. Otherwise I'll forget to do it. Okay. Another thing that maybe I thought you guys would like a little, we talked about it the other day, was how to change the sizes on some of the things that are in your main menu. And the way you can do that is you would go to View, Heading Font, which would be these things up here, and change them to be bigger so you could read them. As your eyes get older, you could make them be however you want. Mine is set on 12 with bold, that font type. You could set it to 14, show you how big they get. Changed all of these up here to be bigger. You do the same thing for these by going to, once again, View, Text Font. You can make them to 14. They all just got bigger. So there's many things that Case Catalyst does. You just have to, I'm going to change my text font back because it is a little too big for me. But there's many things that it does that you can change yourself. A couple of people asked about how do you change the colors. Here, I think I showed that the other day. You go into Tools, and I had a problem finding it then. But you could change the colors in here. Under Options, Themes, take your pick. We'll try Lavender Large. We did this the other day. Well, that's kind of pretty. I wouldn't mind having that. Changes it up a little. So those are all different things that Case Catalyst will do for you. If there's any other things that anybody has any questions about, go ahead, feel free to ask me. I'll try to help you. If you feel like I should go over macros again, I have another 5 minutes. I could do that if you want.
Nobody else has asked questions at this point, so not a question per se, but if we get a chance to have more webinars, I wouldn't mind learning about the insert field section.
The fill-in fields. What I just did on the title page, is that what they're talking about? Yes, no?
Yes. I have to wait
Okay.
until they respond.
Okay. Okay, if anyone wants me to go over macros really are kind of a hard thing to do because you really do have to know the commands, the actual keyboard commands for everything. But I really do wish that some of you will try to do your own keyboard maps. Try to save your wrists, save your arms, save your hands from doing more strokes than you need to. It is like Premiere Power. There was an old Premiere Power keyboard. Use that. If people are using a Premiere Power keyboard, add to it. Go in there, make changes to things that you want to add to your keyboard. There's so many commands that you could do that are in there, and I think you'll love doing them. So use your Premiere Power keyboard and a default keyboard. Delete the other ones that are in there. There are people that were old Xscribe people, which I'm one of them. Use your old Xscribe commands that you use to set up into a keyboard map that you name as your own keyboard map, and use that. If there's anything else that you need me to help with, I will try. Some of this is hard when you're not there in person to actually show people how to do it. It's really not as difficult as it seems when I'm trying to explain it. Just make yourself a keyboard map and start using it, and use that keyboard map that I gave the example of, the blank keyboard map, right on there in red, the letters that you use, just the keys to change the letters to. If you use Shift and Control, put it in blue. If you used just Shift, put it in black. My Shift key will be all capital letters, so I've never changed the Shift key on any of the commands with the Shift to the actual letters, because I've always wanted to be able to type like that by just hitting the Shift key within my keyboard map. So the Shift with the letters are still the actual letters. That's the only key that I don't use, is the actual letter key with the Shift to become a different command. I'm trying to think of other things that I use. If I hit the T, that'll J define something just for the job. These are all single letters keystrokes on my actual keyboard. If I wanted to see, once again, how they are translated, I hit the O key and it pops up of all the strokes in there to make up that word. You all know about docking things on the side, cat scratch, your speakers could be docked here. Once again, these are all shortcuts then implemented into Case Catalyst. So if I hit any of those keys that are in this speaker list with the F4, that name will pop in. A lot of things that Case Catalyst does. There's easy text popped on the side. These are the keyboards, the commands that I use to get to that. Number 2 is if I'm here and I want to pop in the witness, I just hit the 2, the witness popped in. If I want to hit the court, I just hit the 3, it pops in. 4 is a prospective juror. To change it back, I just hit the V key. So I think that's about it.
I'm question. Hold on, don't sign up yet. Okay, how did you make the fill-in field for DuPage County State's Attorney? I work with several counties, and that would be very helpful.
Okay, so go back to my includes. Go back to my title page. Within here, I named this within the fields myself. You could create whatever options you want in there. So you would go to File again. Edit, Insert, Field. Now you're going to create a new field right here. So you would hit New Field and say I don't know what county you wanted it, but say I wanted it to be Cook. I would put Cook here, and then the judge's name or however you wanted it to be. If you wanted it to be Cook State's Attorney, create that in here. And then insert it. Then see, now here I have that field in here. Now the first time I went to that field, I hit my F5, hit my F5, it's going to take me to that field. I'm going to start filling this in with names until I get all the people I want in there. Or that one, if it's just the state's attorney, the state's attorney, just type them in. And then they start populating within that. Like here, once you hit that and you start populating it, you just keep adding them. So you would add the states for that one, you would add in for whatever county you're in, the state's attorney's name.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. Will you be sharing your personal keyboard map on share file? People would like to see it to help them start theirs.
I did actually print out and added it to the instructions for keyboard maps. At the very end of it, there's all of the keyboard maps, all of the keyboard commands that I use are on there. It should be like 4 pages. It shows cursor movement commands, mark commands, global commands. They're all on there.
Okay. I think that's good.
And if somebody has
done a good hour, and I think people are just saying thank you now.
Okay.
All right.
No other questions? I do feel like macros are pretty hard, and if we want to go over macros at another time with the accelerators, I could probably do that again.
We could do that. People are signing off now, so I think we are done for today. Thanks again, Cheryl.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.